So here we are in the scientific lab, otherwise known as the Ratliff Garage. And we're gonna do some chemical reactions here with you today, going along with our baking cookies and other things in the oven, but cookies especially. Mr. Youngblood and Mrs. Ratliff here to talk to you about the science behind this.
So how we doing, everybody? So ultimately what we have is got some empty 20-ounce pop bottles that we cut the top off so that we are able to easily pour inside of there, because the lip of that doesn't have a whole lot of area for that. And we've got our hydrogen peroxide, we've got our dish soap, our food coloring so you can see better, we've got our measuring cups, our 1/4 cup and our 1/2 cup. We've got warm water with yeast in it, and we're letting that activate. We added the yeast about 5 minutes ago so that it is good and ready to go. So
I guess, so we're ready to put the ingredients in there, I think.
yeah.
Okay, so the first thing we would need is to put a 1/2 cup of the hydrogen peroxide into the bottle.
Yep.
It goes.
Yep, because what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna mix the hydrogen peroxide, dish soap, and some food coloring into the bottle. Do we want to try to do 2 bottles or just go with one for now?
Go with one with a small amount and one with a large amount.
Oh yeah.
So the directions on this weren't really clear. It said add a small amount of water, and we didn't really know what the small amount was. So we've got 2 different mixes of water. In this world of relativity, small means different things. So a small cruise ship would be different than a small banana. See them vigorously working this time-sensitive experiment dealing with chemical reactions. Mrs. Ratliff now has the peroxide in both bottles. Mr. Youngblood,
We've got the nice scented soap.
It is.
palm
So-
olive, good for experiments, maybe not so much for washing dishes. Dawn dish soap, the only way to go.
Do we want to add
Oh,
food coloring?
I don't know. It's already green.
I was gonna say, I'm good with green.
Let's just leave it.
So the
Okay.
dish soap gives us a green color.
So we've got our dish soap, we've got our hydrogen peroxide in there. We're not gonna add food coloring. If you use like a clear dish soap, then you can add food coloring if you really want, but we're not going to. So it says switch the bottle around a little bit so that we make sure that the mixtures get all mixed together so they're not separated at all. And then step 2 says in a separate container mix a packet of active yeast, which we've already done, so we don't have to worry about that. So it says when you're ready to do the demo, pour the yeast mixture into the bottle. The reaction occurs immediately upon the addition of yeast. So we're gonna go to the point where there's not stuff directly next to it.
Thanks. Okay.
So Mr. Ratliff likes his garage and he likes his clean floor. He's making them go out in the rain to do this next part. Mrs. Ratliff with the small amount of water. She's gonna put the yeast in there. Mr. Y is dumping the large amount of water.
Are we supposed to spin it around or anything?
I don't know. This is just reaction. Oh, there we go. So mine's reacting.
Yeah.
Looking
Mine
like-
is not.
Looking like hers isn't reacting as much as mine.
So this would lead us to believe that Mr. Youngblood's small amount of water was more accurate. We're gonna dump just a little bit more warm water in there, see if that helps with the activation process. We'll give it a minute here. Still waiting on the smaller amount of water. See if we can shake
There it
that.
goes up a little bit. Very slowly.
Try one more attempt here at the other mixture. Get it mixed in there. It appears it is coming up. Be a little thicker for the elephant to wash his teeth with. Oh, there we go.
So if you watch some of the experiments that are done on YouTube or other random places, other people use different chemicals for them to explode a lot more. This is more of the home-friendly version where you can basically get all of these things and not have to get anything over the counter and do them at home, and it's going to be a lot less of a mess than some of the other ones that I've seen previously.
Epic.
You gotta go for the other one now.
All right.
2 for 2. Okay, so we've got round 2. We're trying a little bit different. Hoping to get an explosion.
It is growing though.
I mean, yeah, it's
Crazy.
growing. It's taking up a lot more space.
So all the amount of materials that were in that was less than that little fruit jar holds, which tells us what?
It's expanding and taking up more space as the chemical reactions occur.
And a lot of that space being taken up is done through what we can see, the carbonation or the bubbles that are forming. Part of that is from the soap, and most of it's the mixture of the chemical reactions like we just read about in the baking of cookies. So I figure if it's good enough for an elephant, then it must be good enough for me as well. So I'm just gonna get a little of that on there.